reports that the Browns are not interested in trading for Aaron Rodgers. The Browns per capita are ecstatic that Baker Mayfield seemingly turned the corner in the second half of the 2020 season, leading the Browns to their first playoff appearance in 18 years, their first postseason victory since returning to the NFL in 99.
Translation. Aaron Rodgers ain't coming to no Cleveland.
Let's look at the numbers, Max. They're not that different. Just a higher QBR, just a higher completion percentage, and almost double the amount of touchdowns with fewer interceptions. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a beast. Chris Canty, do you believe Rodgers wants to leave Green Bay?
No, I don't believe he wants to leave Green Bay. I don't. I thought initially when you heard the beautiful mystery commentary and then we had the leak right on the eve of the NFL draft, I thought this was it. Aaron Rodgers wants to get out of there. But now I'm starting to feel like Aaron Rodgers is manipulating the media and the Green Bay Packers like he manipulates coverages in the secondary.
Ooh,
I feel like this is more posturing and Aaron Rodgers trying to gain control of his situation in Green Bay, trying to dictate when his tenure as the Packers starting quarterback comes to an end. Because, Max, you know this, there's no more guaranteed money on that Aaron Rodgers contract. The Green Bay Packers, they're renting, they're not buying when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. So if they wanted to show a significant commitment to their quarterback, then they would have to address that contract. They wouldn't go out there last year and draft a quarterback in the first round when they could have got their quarterback some weapons in order to help him. You saw what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did with Tom Brady. They recruited him in free agency, and then they asked Tom Brady, what do you need in order to make it work? And they went out and got him everything. They brought Gronkowski out of retirement. They signed Antonio Brown. They signed Leonard Fournette. They did everything that Tom Brady asked them to do. And guess what? When Tom Brady faced off against Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers gave them the business. And so Aaron Rodgers is looking around and saying, well, what are you going to do as an organization to take advantage of the twilight of my career? It doesn't feel like you have that kind of commitment in order for me to compete at the highest level. It feels like you're trying to replace me, and that's exactly why he's doing what he's doing right now.
Look, there are two things about this situation, and this is in flux.
Okay.
And let me tell you, do I think Rodgers wants to leave Green Bay? I think ideally, probably he would. Maybe he's looking at San Francisco and thinking, I'm not even sure that San Francisco didn't take Trey Lance because they thought they're not dealing before the deadline. Maybe they'd like Trey Lance as part of a trade package. I don't know. I'm still not sure. So I'm sure he has more ideal situations. But here's two things I always thought about the Rodgers situation. And then I'll get to the to the Packers. One, it's always been more about business than Aaron Rodgers even realized. Because business to the employee can feel personal because they're putting a number on what they think you're worth. That feels personal. I'm not claiming, he might felt disrespected. He wanted input. He didn't like the fact that they drafted his replacement, all that. But give me the bag. Give me the bag, right? And they weren't coming with it. Until recently. They came with the bag, right? Oh, we'll make him what did I say on TV? And then they did it like a day or two later. Make him the highest guaranteed offer in the history of football, see how he feels.
Money talks.
Personal feelings will change, right? Then they came with it. Okay. Why did they come with it? They draft Jordan Love. Now we're into year 2. He's not ready. If he does eventually get ready, we have to make a decision whether to pay him. This ain't working out. Meantime, Aaron Rodgers, the MVP of the league, age 37. If he's this good till he's 40, that's 4 years. We can give him some more guaranteed money and stretch it over years, and we'll be all right with the salary cap. So that's one. It's always been more about business than I think Rodgers has realized. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers does not have to sit out to force a trade to exactly where he wants to go. Because I don't think in the NFL, you can take a quarterback who kind of don't want to be there. Yeah, he'll show up, he'll go through the motions, he'll be really good, but can he lead a team to the promised land if he's got one foot out the door? I don't think so. And I think the teams are very aware of that. Tom Brady and the Bucs won partly because Brady was all in. Not just because Brady on Sundays could do X, Y, and Z, because he led the franchise, right? They need Aaron Rodgers to do that. If he doesn't want to be there, he can't do that. They know it. That means they will trade him without sitting out. And they will trade him to the team he orders them to trade him to, because that's the only team that's going to give up the farm to get him. Because they know, okay, he wants to be here. So those are the two misconceptions, I think. One, it's not about business, more than Rodgers realizes. 2, he's going to have to sit out. Is he willing to? I don't think he has to in order to force a trade. But now that the team is looking at Jordan Love different, Chris, I think, and that they saw the season Rodgers just had and looked at his age and looked at the rules changes around the quarterback and see what Brady's doing at 43? Rodgers doesn't have to play till he's 43, 40, 41. Here's the largest guarantee in the history of football for a quarterback. Yep. There it is. Why don't you stay? I think Rodgers is a good chance he takes it.
Here's the thing, Max. To be determined when it comes to Jordan Love, we just don't know. We don't have enough information. There aren't any data points that are out there, right? So we don't know. And last year, there wasn't any training camp, in terms of modified training camp, no OTAs, no mini camp. So we don't know what Jordan Love is capable of doing. But to your point about quarterbacks, you can't have your quarterback being on the fence as to whether he wants to be committed to that team, to that organization in that given season. You just can't. So with the Green Bay Packers, as we move closer to training camp, I think the picture is going to become a lot clearer in terms of what they're going to have to do. But I think also Aaron Rodgers is also going to have to declare what it is that he wants to do, whether he's going to go back or whether he's truly going to hold out. I don't think he's going to hold out. I think this is more about being able to needle the general manager who needled him last year when he decided to draft Jordan Love. I think it has gotten to a point where it's personal, and I think Rodgers is trying to show that he
Excuse me one second, real quick, because I wanted to ask you this earlier, and I know we got to move on. But what made you change your mind? Because I was with you. I thought it was a foregone conclusion he was out, and now I feel like he might be sticking around.
Well, because he hadn't talked about anything. He hadn't said anything. And we saw Russell Wilson with that interview he did with Dan Patrick earlier this year. Yeah. And Russell Wilson was saying, well, yeah, I think the organization should do more. I think they should support me. And Russell Wilson's agent went as far as to name 4 or 5 teams that he would potentially go to. But since then, all of that stuff has kind of walked back.
And
it feels like the more time
real quick, Molly, super quick, I think Chris hit it on the head. The end of Rodgers' Packers run was being dictated by the team.
Yes.
Now it's being dictated by Rodgers. They're going to have to come hat in hand. We're sorry. You get input. Here's the money. You go out on your own terms.
All right.
It wasn't going that way until he did this.
We'll leave it there. I got another one for you. Over the weekend, Juju Smith-Schuster shared these thoughts with Pro Football Talk. Quote, the AFC North is just probably the hardest division right now to win, and guys like Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Ben, I think every team is getting to the point where it's like, man, they're really good. It is what it is. Chris, is the AFC North, you played in it, the best division in football?
No, it's not the best division in football. And I don't think it's a top 3 division in football right now. I think the best division in football is the AFC East. And I know it seems funny to say that because Tom Brady left that division a year ago, and we're talking about the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots.
He never had to play a good quarterback his whole career.
That was a foregone conclusion every year. Pats win the AFC East, no-brainer.
100%. But this year it's different because you're talking about the Buffalo Bills with a bona fide MVP candidate in Josh Allen, a team that played in the AFC Championship game a year ago. You have the Miami Dolphins, who were a double-digit win team from a year ago. They were knocking on the playoffs. They had their rookie quarterback, who was coming off of hip surgery, by the way, start the majority of the games, and the team had a winning record in those starts. And then you see what Bill Belichick did in free agency in the NFL draft. He went out and spent a bunch of money, and he was able to get a quarterback in round 1. So I just feel like all of those teams, the way that they're trending, how they're positioned when you look at their personnel, the AFC East is going to be the toughest division in football this year.
I think it's an interesting
Good luck, Mac
pick.
Jones.